This short video tutorial will cover the Apple menu, which can be found on the upper left-hand side of your screen. So if you click on that little Apple icon, you'll get this drop-down menu. Now on the PC side of things, this is called the Start menu, and it would be located on the lower left-hand side instead of the upper left-hand side of the menu. So on the Apple side, this is called the Apple menu. So from here, the very first item you can click on is About This Mac. And when you click on that, you'll get this pop-up menu here. Now, this pop-up menu seems kind of boring at first, but contains a lot of very valuable information. So first off, it's going to show you the version number of the Mac. So right now, you'll note that the version number is 10.5.8. So that information is important, or it could be important if you're ever having, let's say, a service call in for some problem that you might be experiencing with your Mac. You might want to reference which version of the Mac that you're actually operating. Now, another cool thing here is that just by clicking on the version number, it changes to the build number. So that gives you more information specific to this individual system. And if I click one last time, it tells me the serial number. So it's not often that you'll actually need the serial number, but within one click, you can get to all of that information. So that's kind of nifty. On the Windows side of things, it's a little bit harder to find all of that information. So next is software update, but I'll actually cover that in just one moment. Underneath that, you'll find information about the processor, how much RAM you have, and the startup disk for your drive. Now also, you'll find a link there for more information. So if I actually click on that, it gives me a full set of information for this Mac. So in this case, I'm using a MacBook, so I'm using a laptop model, and it tells me the same, some of the same information like the processor, the RAM, and things like that. But let's say I was having problems with just one specific part of the Mac. Let's say I was plugging in a camcorder, and it wasn't being recognized by the FireWire drive. So in this case, I might click on FireWire and get some information on it. So if I saw an error here or anything like that, then that would be a little bit more information that I might be able to troubleshoot. So this, or memory, or PC cards, or the power port, gives me information that I might not have just off the top of my head. So this might come in handy in that case. I'll go ahead and close this. So if I go back to the Apple menu by clicking on the Apple icon one more time, now we'll actually go over the software update. So if I click on software update, the beautiful thing about the Mac is that it's essentially searching all software on your computer. Now on the Windows side of things, this might be called Windows Update, but you'll find that the installation process on the Mac is a lot smoother than on the Windows side. So on the Mac, it basically searches your system, finds updates for you. As soon as you hit install at the very bottom. So in my case, the install is actually grayed out. But if I had some updates waiting for me, then it would, have a list of the updates, and I would simply click install. Now, if I had to agree to any of their license agreements, I would do that now. So as soon as I click install, then I would hit agree, 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 and then finish the installation. Now, it might take a few minutes to actually do the installation or require a restart, but that's beautiful when you compare it to the Windows side of an installation or a Windows update. On the Windows side, you have to initiate the update, like I've done right now on the Mac side, but upon every single download, then you have to confirm, multiple confirmations. So that basically means that on the Windows side of things, you have to stay there or sit at your computer and wait for the installation process to finish. On the Mac side of things, because it's all up front, as soon as you hit install and then accept, you're good to go. You can go walk the dog, have dinner, or whatever it is that you'd like to do. So on the Mac side of things, the software update I find is much easier than on the Windows side of things. I'll go ahead and quit this. Alright, so if I go back to the Apple menu, the next one I'm going to go over here is System Preferences. Now, the book actually covers this in much greater detail, and that's coming down the line, so I'm not going to cover it in full detail, but I want you to know where it is and sort of what it does. So clicking on System Preferences gives me a whole slew of information here. Essentially, this is the control panel within Windows, except, again, that it's a little bit easier once you get used to it to make any modifications to your system. So normally, folks, first thing they might change is the appearance, the desktop. So if I just click on that, it gives you the default images. One nice thing is actually it pulls also from your iPhoto, if you're using iPhoto, your iPhoto photo gallery. So I might click on a link here that says Japan 2010, find an image I might like, and then just click on the image to apply it to the desktop. So I'll go ahead and go back to the default Apple images and choose a system one. Okay, once you've gotten into an area within system preferences and you want to go back, you would just click on either the back button or show all. So I'll click on show all now, and I go back to the beginning. So obviously that was a basic modification that I just did, but you have all options here, like creating users on your account, giving those users different parental controls. Let's say that you want to limit the amount of time that your child spends using the internet, or restrict the types of sites that they access. Network information, tips on energy saving, security information like password protecting your computer, and a full other list of options. So again, we'll go into that in greater detail later on down the line. I'll go ahead and close that now and go back to the Apple menu. So in this case, the last thing I want to show you is, so far we've been doing everything off the system. I don't actually have an application open, or I don't have an application up and running. So right now, by default, this drop-down menu at the top, right now the Apple menu is what I have active. Next is the Finder, basically my desktop area, and File, Edit, View. So this drop-down menu doesn't really exist on the Windows side. It's per application. But on the Mac side, this bar up the top is there by default. So it's a contextual based menu, and dependent on what application you have open. So you'll notice that a moment ago it had all the Finder options up at the top. If I click on an application like Microsoft Word, now, because it's contextual based menu, it changes based on the application. So on the Windows side of things, you might go to the File drop down menu and get edit, view, all that sort of thing. So it might be slightly different depending on what application you're in, especially if you're using the Adobe Creative Suite. So on the Mac side of things, you'll just get familiar with that up on the top. So now that I'm in Word, all the options or all of the drop-down menus change or are specific to this application. It would also be different if I was on Firefox. So now all the options are Firefox related. Alright, okay, this was a short introduction to the Apple menu, which is again referring to what we call the Start menu on the Windows side of things.